I can
Yeah,
imagine.
entrepreneurship it's never been a dull moment. I'm always getting to learn something new. I'm always getting to experience a growth edge.
Yes. Too often, Black women are a mere afterthought in conversations around wellness, but not in this space. On this podcast, the dialogue is always centered around women like you. Welcome to the podcast, but more importantly, welcome to the tribe. Be well, sis. So today I am super excited. I have the co-founder of Oyin Handmade, a company that I know very well. I'm a recovering product junkie, so I used all the things, okay, including Oyin. So thank you for being with us, Jamyla. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. So one thing that I have been doing lately is I really am trying to remind the audience to truly check in with themselves. So I've been asking my guests how are they PMS? So physically, mentally, and spiritually. So you can go as in depth as you want or keep it light, keep it superficial, whatever you want like to share. So how are you
Okay.
PMS?
I love that acronym, first of all. We've got to reclaim, right? So physically, I'm feeling wonderful. I love this time of year. It is
Mm-hmm.
hot and breezy. That's my happy place.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel healthy. I feel well fed.
I love it.
I'm just very, very thankful for my physicality right now. Mentally, I'm also feeling really good. And I'm going to combine the mentally and
Yeah.
spiritually because I had the opportunity this past weekend to attend a self-care retreat given by a
Mm-hmm.
local organization servicing social entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm feeling very rested. I was able to pour into myself. I was able to meditate. I was able to have solitude.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to connect and have wonderful conversations with other kind of purpose driven entrepreneurs. So I'm feeling mentally sharp, well fed in those other mental and spiritual realms as well.
I love it. I love to hear it. So happy for you. Was
Thank you.
the retreat was in Maryland?
It was in the Eastern
Nice.
Shore of Maryland.
Oh, nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. So happy to have you.
Thank you.
As I mentioned before, you are the co-founder of Oyin Handmade, one of like the OGs of the natural hair care space and body care space as well. I
Right.
think I was introduced to you. I think I used to have a subscription to Curlbox. I think you
Oh,
were one of the boxes,
we
and I
did do
still
a curl box. Oh, wow. Way back.
yes, yes.
That's awesome.
That's how I was introduced, and then I saw you
Mhm.
on the shelves. I was like, all right, this is super dope.
That's great.
So talk to me about how are you able to? Because I did a little bit of research, and I see that you this is a family business,
Mhm.
like so. How are you able to, I guess, compartmentalize
Mhm.
building a business and running a business of this magnitude? Being in partnership with your
Mhm.
actual life partner, is there any
Mhm.
conflict there, or and how do you overcome
Mhm.
if there is?
So that's such an interesting question to lead with. Where
I just jump right into it.
yeah, absolutely. So interestingly, um, the my partner and I, his name is Pierre. He's an artist, and we have been. This is our 25th year of marriage, so we've been together for
Wow,
a really long time.
congrats.
Thank you. This is our 20th year, actually 21st year of running this business. But prior to
Wow.
this business, we started others. We did many other projects, artistic projects, and entrepreneurial projects at over the from jump
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's less how is it running a business with my partner and
Mm-hmm.
more this is kind of part of what we've done as long as
Yeah.
we've known each other.
Yeah.
There are certain things about working together that we decided because we wanted to prioritize our togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
We decided really young. We were like 22, I think. When we were young,
Mm-hmm.
babies. If I
Mm-hmm.
had like a daughter who was 22 and wanted to run away and marry someone and start a business, I would knock her upside the head. And
I get
I wouldn't really, because I don't do
it.
that as a parent, but I would want to. Um,
I get it. I get it. I get
but
it.
there we were, like these young kids, and that was our priority. We had
Mm-hmm.
met each other. We thought we were the best thing in the world and
Mm-hmm.
wanted to figure out how to make a living in ways that enabled us to work together. So that was
Oh,
the
that's
always
beautiful.
the core. Thank you. And
Yeah.
it was, and it still is. Um, so we were doing many things. I was designing websites at the time. We had self-published a book that he had
Mm-hmm.
written and I had designed. And we were
Wow.
making short films. We were doing so many things. We were running writing workshops. Like there was we were
Wow.
doing
I love
all
it.
of the things. And Oyin was one of those things. And from the beginning, because our focus had been what can we do so that we can work together,
Mm-hmm.
when each of the things, we got the opportunity to make a feature length film, I dropped everything else I was doing and I was like, okay, I guess I'm now assistant director.
Wow.
And let's do this, let's go. And then when Oyin began to really bubble and take up more, because it was something that started as a hobby and as one of, again, many things that we were doing, when it started to really gain traction and take up more and more of my time at the
Mm-hmm.
time, Pierre dropped some of the things that he was doing. He was like, okay, roll up my sleeves and pack boxes. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
a full artist and an animator and an illustrator. He's a whole art degree.
Wow.
Like he was like, I'm gonna pack boxes for 5 years. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
did. And so it is definitely one of the major gifts of my
Yeah.
life to have a partner who is all in with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely feel the same about him. I still run exittheapple.com. Like we sit, and after I come home from work at Oyin, and then I'm like, hey, let's make
Wow.
some t-shirts, and we make new t-shirts. And so, you know what I mean? Like
Wow.
I need,
Wow.
so like we're still running multiple websites, multiple businesses. We have children, which is another whole project
Yeah.
that one has got to work together
Yeah.
with their partner on, and
Yeah.
prioritize and come to
That's
decisions together with. So I definitely think working together has been woven into the fabric of our relationship from the beginning, and it's been a gift.
That is so beautiful
Mhm.
because typically I've heard stories where people work together out of necessity, but
Mhm.
you guys wanted that. Like, how
Mhm.
can you like how can we work together? I think that's so beautiful and it's rare, very very rare, and I just love it. So talk to me about how did Oyin, is that
Mhm.
the proper
Yeah.
way? Okay. So how
Yeah.
did that come to fruition?
So, as I said, it grew very slowly
Mm-hmm.
and over time. I like to call it organic. It grew organically,
Mm-hmm.
and and it grew out of my own necessity. I wanted something that did not exist in the
Yeah.
marketplace at the time. There were very, very few products in all of ethnic hair care that were commercially available, that were not only natural, because I was looking for
Yeah.
natural products, but
Mm-hmm.
that were not dedicated to the chemical straightening of textured hair. Like that was
Yep.
really, if it wasn't a relaxer, the ethnic hair care aisle was basically the relaxer aisle.
Yep. Yep.
And if it wasn't a relaxer, it was maybe like a curly perm, like a Jerry curl kind of. There would be those products as well, and there would be texturizers. So
Yep.
that was what made up the entire
Yep.
aisle of ethnic hair care, where here are the three options you have for the chemical alteration of the texture of your hair.
Yep.
So if you didn't want to use those chemicals, and if you didn't want to alter your hair, there really were not a lot of options for you. Um, it was my hobby to create almost anything. I used to make my own clothes. I used to make, you know, like all kinds of things. I've spent years perfecting my chocolate chip cookie recipe. There's
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So when I began to look for, and actually it was done in community. I was part of a bulletin board at the time called naturality.com. And there was another one that was really popular called naturallycurly.com. So there was, through the early internet, there was this bubbling up of mostly women who wanted to find a way and share information and figure out how to care for their hair in its natural state, and who needed support in order to do that. We needed that social support of those bulletin boards because at the time it was kind of a revolutionary act. It was not looked upon kindly. It was thought that you would never find a partner, you would never get a job, like no one was going to hire you or think that you were well groomed if you did not have your hair chemically straightened, or I guess thermally straightened was a possibility, but nobody was doing that at that time.
Right. Yep.
So there was a huge need for us to come together, because just having that affirmation and as we all say now, representation matters. We were representing for each other. We were showing each other how, we were sharing photo albums, we were giving each other hair tutorials, we were sharing product reviews. All of that stuff was happening on this one bulletin board dedicated to natural hair.
Yep.
At that time, I was, you know, doing my nerdy experimenting thing, sharing all of my recipes, like, OMG, you guys, you can boil flaxseeds. Did you know? And this and that herb. And what if you take your Suave? Well, everyone used to always buy Suave conditioner because it was like the cheapest 99 conditioner.
Cents. Yep.
Yes. And so we would buy that and we would doctor it up. And so we'd share our recipes, like just put some olive oil in it, or put olive oil and honey. That was my jam. I had put honey in everything, and it just changed it and made it luxurious and super decadent, and gave us the moisture that we needed, right? So everyone was passing these recipes back and forth. Mine were getting more and more elaborate because I'm a nerd and I was very interested. And so when I started telling people to boil flax seeds and steep these herbs, they started to say,
hold on now,
why don't you do that? And then I'll buy it from you if you do it, because I am not doing all of this.
Right.
So if you do, you know what's not gonna happen, all of this.
Right.
So it actually is the longest way possible. But I wanted to give you the context for like what was happening in the community, and the fact that it was the community itself that asked for this to be a product that they could buy. It literally had not occurred to me until that moment, until they asked. It hadn't occurred to me to make it and sell it. And then they did. And if you recall, one of the many things I did at the time, I had taught myself to code. So I knew how to build websites, and I built a little website and started selling it. So this is part of why the growth was so organic and took such a long time, because I had to not only, learn how to make these products. I then had to learn how to build a website. I then had to learn how to have a business. Like the next big bump that occurred was when I created mini sizes and a sample pack of the products. And that was a really big boon to the business, because again, at the time, e-commerce itself was not a thing that most people participated in. I think it was the year that PayPal had just come out with their buy it now buttons. So I was able to code those little buy now buttons in there. But it wasn't a thing that people were accustomed to doing, buying things online. So that people were making a big leap. And so when we introduced what we called snack packs, which were 2-ounce minis of all of our products, we experienced such a big season, because we had basically lowered the barrier of entry to trying our products. And this is, again, something that had I come to it with a business mindset, I might have started with a sample pack, but it was something that the community had to ask me for. And then it was literally after that we were able to like quit our jobs and do this full time. And there was some necessity in there too. Don't get me wrong. Like we were, my husband was watching me, staying up late at night, trying to do the stuff. He was like, "Look, baby, you need some help." And we could both quit our jobs, but it's not like we could quit our jobs and then also hire anyone. So
Right.
that was where the necessity came in. Was like we were, if the company was making the just enough for us to like cover our bare expenses, but no extra. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. But as I'm
yeah,
listening to you, I'm just like, first of all, you took me down like memory lane because I remember very
yeah.
vividly that time that you described. We went to the store, and when I first started to go natural, my mom was just like, absolutely not. She was like, you're
Right,
in school, you're not going to get a job. Like, hello, like, no, do not do that. I'm just like,
right,
no, I need to do it because A, I'm
right,
broke. I cannot afford to go to the stylist,
right.
number one. And number
There's
two, I
that.
was sick of these burns. Like, no
Yes.
matter how much I cared for my scalp before my relaxer, I would inevitably get a huge burn. I'm just like, I can't do
Hmm.
this anymore.
Hmm.
But yeah, we
There
had
was
no
an
options.
expense, there was a danger,
Mm-hmm.
and there we're even now. This is 25 years later. Even now, there was literally something in the Times this weekend about the long
Yep.
studied effects of relaxers on Black
Yep.
women's health,
Yep.
and outcomes. And there's and still
Yeah.
every concern that your mom had was a
Yep.
valid concern at that time.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
like there's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not mad at anyone who made that concern or who
Mm-hmm.
had that perspective, because it really was a risky
Right.
idea, you know.
Yep. Yep.
um so
And
yeah, there's
yeah. And even now we're looking like, many of us are
Mhm.
natural and have embraced our textures. And there's still, and even though there's a legislation that says, for the most part, you cannot be fired. I forget
Right.
the name of the legislation,
The
but
the
the
Crown
Crown
Act.
Act. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, such a
But
win for, yeah.
yes, but I still recently, a couple months ago, this little boy, I don't know if it was in Texas,
Mhm.
who was kicked out of school for having locks because he
Yeah,
refused to cut his locks.
yeah, it still
And
happens.
yeah,
Yeah,
so the
yeah.
concerns were valid. And also I
Mhm.
remember all those boards. I was on those boards trying to learn
Yes.
too. How do I make my suave? Let's extend the
Right.
suave and make it better, make it good. And
Yes.
I'm also listening to you. I'm just like, this woman is brilliant. So you figured out the recipes that we need to, to nourish the curls and all of that good stuff. Then you're like, I just taught myself how to code. What? Like, what? And then I just, did this. What? Like, absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
My
Oh,
goodness.
thank you. It's been an adventure for
I can
sure.
imagine. I can
Yeah,
imagine.
entrepreneurship has never, it's never been a dull moment. I'm always getting to learn something new. I'm always getting to experience a growth edge.
Yes. Yes. And then on top of that,
Mhm,
you have
mhm.
children.
Yes.
So how? Because I'm
Yeah.
barely holding on. It's my first week. It's the kids' first week, the second week of summer camp, summer not summer
Yeah,
camp,
summer
summer vac,
homeness. Yeah.
and I'm struggling. So
It's a
how?
thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I feel like all I do is cook. The people that
Right.
I beg to eat during the school
Hmm.
year, now their appetites are insatiable. Like all I'm doing is making the next meal, and I
Right.
can't.
Right.
But
I saw a meme probably a couple years ago now where they're talking about don't be in my refrigerator like like you live here.
hello,
Use your in school stomach. Like
hello, somebody. The older one was just standing there in front of the fridge. I'm just like, why is my fridge door open? You just had breakfast. He's like, I'm
right.
looking for a snack. I'm just like, if you don't have a glass of water and leave my kitchen, like, leave me alone.
Oh,
But
the kids, they're gonna be all right. My younger was just trying to prank my older into believing it was Tuesday so that he wouldn't have to unload the dishwasher. These are the
wow,
antics. He was like
wow.
he would like stage a pretend Google search. And so like he was just really
Oh, he went deep. He went
he
deep.
went deep. He was trying to deep fake his brother. And so I was like,
Oh
you know what,
goodness.
y'all? Stop kicking it. Stop kicking it.
So how do you,
Mhm.
what are some things that you found have been helpful in you
Mhm.
balancing all of the things,
Right,
like being a businesswoman, being a
right,
parent, being a partner? And I could imagine
right.
sometimes like all of those things are conflicting, or not conflicting, but competing for your
Yeah.
attention.
They do compete. It's true. Um, I so thing one, I gotta give props to my partner. happened to have won the partner lottery.
I
He's
love it.
freaking awesome. Like in of all of the um possible perspectives and attitudes it's possible to have
Yeah.
about parenthood,
Yeah.
um he's got one that works really well with mine.
I love
So
it.
mine is largely a talk amongst yourself
Mm-hmm.
kind of perspective. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to kind of self manage as much as possible. Can I put a system in place and then y'all just kind of manage? No, that's
Right.
not what happens with kids. Whereas my partner's perspective is he is very hands-on.
Mhm.
He's like egoless. He is in service to the project of parenting,
Yeah.
and sometimes to his own detriment, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it is very helpful. It enables me to do when I need to focus on the business, when I need to run out of
Mm-hmm.
town for a sales call, when I need to, and this, especially when I was doing a lot of like the sales and corporate interfacing stuff when our brand
Mm-hmm.
was in on major
Mm-hmm.
shelves and in mass retailers and stuff. My kids were young. They were 5, 6, 7, 8, you know,
Ooh,
and
tough.
yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
tough, and these people were. It was like they had never heard of video conferencing, telephone calls, or Zoom, even when I explicitly recommended and suggested them. But no, I'm the crazy one. I'm the crazy one who teaches herself how to code. Such a thing is impossible. You must fly 7 states away for a 30-minute meeting. That's what you must do. It was nonsense. But I
Mm,
had a partner who was, go ahead. We would
yeah.
fist bump. He would take the kids to school. He would bring the kids up. He would give them, they would fish stick up to death. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
they had everything they needed. They were registered.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had took full ownership of the project of parenting in a
Mm-hmm.
way that I know that it is not. So I want to say men are not socialized to do.
Truly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to be partnered with a man.
Mm-hmm.
There, I know that men are not socialized to do this. I
Mm-hmm.
also know that Black men are among the most highly engaged
Yep.
fathers in the fatherhood spectrum. So
Yep.
so that's why I'm talking about, like, I'm talking about it in sociological terms
Yep.
rather than like specific terms, because I
Yeah.
all the brothers I know are hands on. But they're,
Same.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
so my partner is also Black also. So
Yeah.
we have
Yep.
so but that is really the number one reason that it works, is
Mm-hmm.
because our internal division of labor is and I can't say without genderedness, you know what I
Sure.
mean,
Sure. Yeah.
we are both willing to do whatever it takes to get the stuff done.
Yeah.
And so, and I can't say without genderedness, because I don't like mow the lawn. That's not what I
I
do.
mean, yeah, what?
There are still some gender roles in
Yeah,
our home.
same. Same. I feel like I'm
Okay.
in a way listening to myself because I feel like
Mm,
I hit the lotto. Like my
mm,
husband is super hands on.
mm,
Like in terms of my father wasn't present,
mm,
so just watching him, I told him yesterday, I'm like, watching how you are with our boys is like healing to my inner child. Like he's
oh
just so
yes.
attentive and just dependable and playful, but
Mm,
also teaching life lessons. And
right.
he's just amazing. And we come together and do the things. I'm just like outside.
Mm.
I'm just like it is too hot, okay, and I'm not pushing no lawnmower. Like you got to figure that out. But he's like, I'll help you with the laundry. I'll do this. I'll do that. But I'm just like,
Mm,
okay. So inside,
yeah.
but outside, that's all you, friend. It's not the party. Um, but I think it's beautiful. And you mentioned how
Mm,
Black men are the most engaged within the
mhm,
home, compared to
mhm,
their counterparts. And my husband also didn't have a father, and I think
mhm.
it's really interesting how our generation like
Yes.
really stepped up
Yes.
and really showed out, and I just think it's so beautiful. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've
And
just
I
been.
think a lot of it is
Mhm.
intentional healing of those intergenerational challenges and wounds that
Yes.
many of us carry. Where
Yeah.
these brothers are trying to fix that. They're trying
Yes. Yes. Yep.
they're
Yeah.
working hard. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
And I have a question regarding
Hmm.
relationships because I love hearing how you talk about Pierre. Pierre.
Hmm. Yes.
um I want people to hear more of these type of stories because on social
Mm.
media I try to like fix my feed, but
Yeah.
I keep seeing so much bashing
Yeah.
of each other and things.
Yeah.
And I just want, I love to hear love, Black
Yeah.
love. And the question that I have for you is, being that he's such, you knew he was a good partner for you, were there
Hmm.
any inklings that he would be a good father? Like when you were dating,
Yeah.
before you even
Oh, yes.
considered kids?
So absolutely. And we were married almost 10 years before we had kids. So
Hmm.
there were not just inklings, there was evidence. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I always said I would have either two kids or zero kids. Like I
Hmm.
wasn't that little girl who grew up like I can't wait to be a mom.
Yeah.
I could very much wait to be a mom. And I'm the oldest of four. I had no
Gotcha.
you know what I mean? Like this, I didn't have no mystery about the fact that
Gotcha.
parenting was a delight and was also a lot of work, you know?
Yep. Hmm.
I was intimidated and I respect it
Hmm.
as a project. I respect it as a mission. I respect it
Hmm. Yeah.
as a life, a thing that changes and can
Yeah.
enhance one's life. But I
Yeah.
hold no um
Yeah.
yeah, no there's not a a moment in which I ever forgot that it was also work.
Yeah. Hard
So
work. Hmm.
hard work, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's what some of the properties about Pierre that made me know he would be a good father
Hmm.
were his attentiveness,
Hmm.
were his kind of egolessness
Hmm.
in relationship,
Yeah.
um the ways in which he demonstrated that he would do whatever was needed to be done for the collective, with the collective meaning our relationship
Hmm.
and then our businesses and then our projects and stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was all in.
Hmm.
Um, and he's just a really nurturing dude. Like he takes care of me
Yeah.
in ways. Like he's always had a really incredible level of emotional maturity, an incredible
Hmm.
level of communication and kind of emotional acuity.
Hmm.
um there's I've learned a lot from him about how to communicate in relationship, about how to um put a relationship first, you know. I think
Yeah.
that I would happily be a child-free human and
Hmm.
be a bunch of people's awesome auntie.
Right. Right. Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But they're also, after life with
Hmm.
this partner for almost a decade, I
Hmm.
felt like it would almost be wrong not to have kids with that guy, because that guy needed to be
Oh.
a
Oh my goodness. That's so beautiful. Oh man, that is so beautiful. So so beautiful. And
Yeah.
I just want people to hear this. If you do not have children and you maybe are thinking about it
Mm.
and thinking about what to look for in your partner, please take heed. Like, how does he care for you and the
Yeah.
things that you guys are doing together? Is he
Right.
like one toe in, or is he like
Right.
full on, you know?
Right.
For sure, for
These
sure.
things that,
I
you know,
love
because
it.
having a child is it's a documented medical level
Yeah.
strain on
Yep.
you and your body, especially as a woman, but
Yep.
on any relationship, on any
Mm-hmm.
household. Like it is a tripling of the amount of
Yep.
literal like work that there is to do. It
Yep.
also, but one of the I read an article 100 years ago. It was called um All Joy No Fun. Oh, it
Mm.
was a right, like that's
Mm.
kind of shouting at me, but we're but that's the idea, is that parenting is a joyful project. It fills your life with joy. It can fill your
Yeah.
life with meaning. It can give you so much pleasure, but
Mm-hmm.
the daily experience of it
Yeah.
is often less fun than the
Yeah.
long-term impact
Yeah.
and joy that it can bring to your life. And
Really.
so yeah, so
Yeah.
it's important to recognize that. And this is not to I know that my perspective on parenthood is not everyone's perspective on
Sure.
parenthood. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We each
Mm-hmm.
come to it with our own gifts and with our
Mm-hmm.
own challenges and our own histories and etc.
Mm-hmm.
um but the the ways in which you are partnering each other
Mm-hmm.
can definitely give you cues about the ways that you would parent a new person. If there are ways in which your partner, or that you feel strain in meeting your
Mm-hmm.
partner's needs, or if you feel like your needs are not being met, that is definitely an indicator that adding 3 times as much need to the relationship might
Yeah.
strain it further, and you can kind of see those fault lines in the way that you are with each other, you know.
Yeah, so true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making me think back, like I'm thinking about like conflict. I think how me and my husband have had conflict really is reflective of how he like deals with any strain
Yeah.
with the children too.
Right,
Like
right.
he's more he was definitely more emotionally mature and available than I was. I had
Yeah.
therapy had to do some work on me.
Yeah.
Therapy and
Yeah.
Jesus. Um
Yeah.
and he was the type that I would become defensive, and he was like, all right,
Mm,
there's no fault
right,
here. How can we
right.
fix this? And this is how he parents too. Like, and I've
That's it.
learned from him, like, we're not accusing anybody. Like, how can
Right,
we learn from this and not repeat
right.
this thing that is harmful to us? And I think it's so helpful. And yeah, I'm
That's it.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
don't be sorry. That's exactly it. But one of my partner's wash line is, "I'm not fighting you." That's what he'll say. Like when I get, because
Yes.
I have an Aries moon every time. If he's like, "Such and such," and I'm like, "Huh? What?
Yes,
What?"
yes.
He's
What
like,
you
I'm
mean? Right.
not right. I'm not fighting you. Actually, let's
Yeah.
just handle the thing."
Yeah.
And the what we used to have a podcast, and one of the episodes was fight don't it's you and me against the problem. That's what it is.
Hmm.
And that's like the core of the practice. You want to take "I'm not fighting you" and that kind of level of emotional and turn it into a tool that's like
Yeah.
portable that you can take with you. That would be it. Is you
Oh,
and me against the problem, is you and your partner getting on the same page and then tackling whatever the issue is together as
I.
people who both want the issue to be solved.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna take
Yeah.
that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take that. That is a nice reframe for
Mhm.
sure. I love
Mhm.
that. And it kind of reminds me, and then I'm sorry, we're gonna switch back, but I was watching a TikTok video. I'm an only
Mhm.
child. So
Mhm.
watching my boys engage, I'm trying to figure out, I need to
Mm.
figure out when to step back and let them just
Right.
have
Right.
healthy conflict and when to step in.
Mhm.
So this woman was saying how she raised boys who are very close, because that's really important
Mhm.
to me. I want my kids
Yeah.
to be close. When I'm not here, you
Yeah.
guys have each other.
Yeah.
And one thing that she said was she really nurtured them having the us against the world, even if the world was
Mm.
them. She's like, sometimes I'd get
Mm.
upset when, like, if one's in trouble, they would, take up for the other against me and my
Uh-huh.
husband. She's like, it would bother me, but
Oh,
in the deep down, I'd be like, that's good. That's how it should be.
right.
So it
Right.
reminds me of, what you just said
Yeah.
there. Like, it's us against the problem.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, beautiful.
That is beautiful. I got to give my boys more practice in that. They're, like I said, you see, I told you they were trying to.
But that's cute, though. That's really
It's
cute.
adorable. It's
That's really cute.
we need to give them more strife against, so that they can be mad at us and team up against us.
Right. Yeah, right. So,
Mhm.
Oyin has
Mhm.
because it was rooted in community. So
Mhm.
community asked for this and you
Yeah.
created it, all the things.
Right.
So how do you still foster and maintain like that relationship with your customer base as things have evolved and we're not so much
Right.
on like the community forums anymore?
Right. Right. I miss the forums, I gotta say.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, there's I've I've had intermittent mileage
Mhm.
with social media. I've found it is less helpful in community building and community
Yep.
maintenance than the community that birthed
Yeah.
Oyin. The email works well for us.
Hmm.
Every now and then we'll try a new platform. Like we would just tried like a Facebook group. Like maybe a group would
Hmm.
be better than a page, and maybe we can
Hmm.
have communication there. But all of it, like, and especially with there's so many, and we're a tiny team. There's only a few
Yeah.
of us, and so it really like it's a whole person's whole full time job to
Yep.
keep time to keep on top of that kind of stuff, and we don't have that person. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like we really have to be choosy. And right now, what we're focusing on is our email marketing, because that is still like a one-to-one
Mm-hmm.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that the reason I miss the boards is because I miss that communal conversation
Yep.
happening as well. So I'm hoping that the Facebook group we call it Nourish and Flourish. You can,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm hoping that begins to really pick up so that we can have group conversations, because people benefit from each other.
Yes.
Another thing that we did was in person communitying,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
For a dozen years up until the pandemic, we had a storefront here in
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore where our products are made.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just open on Saturdays. Literally for 12 years, we were Saturdays only boutique. And we've done different things with it. Sometimes we opened, with pop-ups during the week, or sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
would have, other businesses do pop-ups, or we spent a good number of years having salon services in there, but
Cool.
ultimately, like at its core, it
Mm-hmm.
was a Saturday boutique.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we did, which was part community engagement and part helping us through one of our scaling challenges,
Mm-hmm.
was bottling parties. And this
Oh.
is when we had it was literally we were heading into holiday season long, long, long ago, and at that time none of our bottling was automated. We were using like squeeze bottles and juice containers to fill our materials,
Wow.
right? And so there was quite literally a bottleneck, because we could scale our recipes up, but we couldn't get them into the packaging any
Yeah.
faster. So the idea was we would send out an email and invite people to come to our production facility, and they would help us with bottles. So everyone would get their bouffants and their gloves and their aprons,
Nice.
and we'd play loud music, and everyone would bottle stuff and everyone would be bottling and labeling. And then we would give them a lot of free products, and then order pizza. And so we did this,
That's so
like, it
creative.
was so
Yeah.
fun.
Wow.
And it was really fun. And so people
Mm.
could come, and they could come and order, and they could earn
Mm-hmm.
free products. But also what happened was a lot of really great conversations. People would
Mm-hmm.
share their hair journeys. People would talk about their parenting stuff. People would talk about their jobs. People were just connecting over
Mm-hmm.
this shared experience and about their other shared experiences. Friendships were made. Like, we are still close to some of the people who used to come to
Love
the
it.
bottling parties. Like, it's just, and it also was a way for people to kind of peek behind the curtain. Like, we are
Mm-hmm.
called Oyin Handmade, and like they were being
It's
like, "Oh
legit.
wow, this is."
Handmade. Okay. They were not lying.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. I think is that something that you would do
Mhm.
now, like to open
So
doors up a little
yeah,
bit?
well, we do a few times a year. We have youth groups come through, and so we'll do tours, and sometimes we'll do a
Mm-hmm.
hands-on maker
Mm-hmm.
activity with the young people. And then we
Mm-hmm.
we are planning in the fall to offer workshops and
Mm-hmm.
things. Like our new we just moved our factory almost 2 years ago now. It still feels like just because we
Wow.
whoa.
Right. Right.
That's a big deal too. So we were in our
I can
previous
imagine.
production space for I think 11 years, and so moving that, we had to do build out on a whole new space, which is wonderful and we love it so much, but it also like was kind of
It's
depleting to manage as a
yeah.
project, right?
Yeah.
That's another
Taxing.
one of the things I had to learn to do. I had to learn construction project management. Look at that.
Brilliant. I'm telling you, you are brilliant. What can't you do? Like
So funny. But yeah, so
wow.
we're going to be starting a workshop series pretty soon. We're hoping for the fall.
That's
And
super
yeah.
dope.
And who knows
Yeah.
what I can do. I haven't found it yet.
I love that for you. I love it. So talk to me about if a lot of people who would listen are side hustlers or aspiring entrepreneurs, what if you have one or two pieces of advice that you would give to somebody who is trying to start something that is socially focused and that has our holistic well-being in mind, what piece of advice would you give to someone who is just like, oh, I have an idea and I'm just starting, I don't know where to go from here?
Yeah. I love the just starting. That's actually my first piece of advice, is to just
Mm.
start it. There's um what is this saying? Nothing beats a failure but a try. There's
Okay.
right? Like there's you can read about things, you can go through an accelerator. I encourage you to do both of those things as
Mm-hmm.
well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's only so much you can learn, right?
You have to
With
do.
eventually you have to do, and
Yeah.
then that, in my experience, it jump starts the learning, right? I've
Mm-hmm.
gone through multiple entrepreneurship accelerators,
Mm-hmm.
cohorts, curricular kind of
Mm-hmm.
um, programs, and the ones that worked the best were the ones that enabled you to work on your own business.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than a theoretical,
Yep.
tomato sauce business, right? So
Gotcha.
like you
Yeah.
get to work on your own, and then you get to apply the tools you're learning to your actual business and its challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you it just makes it stickier. It makes the
Yeah.
learning more
Yeah.
immediately applicable, and it makes it easier to remember.
Yeah.
And then the second one, which also goes back to the cohorting, is to find community.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple, like, there are so many resources out there for entrepreneurship right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from like the ease it takes to build a Shopify store right now versus like
True.
me and my
Yeah. When you were
hand coded
coding.
PayPal button.
Yes.
Yes. Everything from that is like the Grand Canyon between those two experiences, you know?
Yeah.
And there are also resources, like I said, accelerators, entrepreneurial incubators, like
Mm-hmm.
maker spaces, so many resources that are built to try to help people
Mm-hmm.
create and sustain small businesses. Use those resources, get the help. So
Yeah.
those are my two, and they seem like they're contradictory, but they're not. Just
Mm-hmm.
start and get the help. Get the help and just start. Do them both at once. Do them one after the other.
Yes.
I don't know, but go. The best way to validate your idea is to make it
Actually.
and then see
Yeah.
if somebody
Yeah.
wants it. Yeah.
I love it. And then my last question for you
Mhm.
is, what are some ways that you care for yourself? Because you are doing so
Mm,
many things. So how do you
yeah.
pour back into you?
Thank you for asking that question. This is the wellness podcast. I love it. So I love nature and being outside, particularly in the warm weather. And so, um, things like sitting in my hammock, or just even sitting, even if I've got, inboxing to do, if I can do it outdoors on my deck instead of inside at my desk. I'm in a walkable neighborhood, so I like to leave each day and take a walk, or go to like a little pocket park and sit outside for
Hmm.
5 or 10 minutes, or, just even
Yeah.
and the other thing is using granular pockets of time. That has
Mhm.
been a lifesaver. I don't always have the opportunity to go to a whole weekend self-care retreat. That is
Right.
actually very rare in my life. But I can almost always find 20 minutes to sit under a tree. And those 20 minutes with my journal, or with, some quiet ambient music, those 20 minutes at a time can do wonders to just help me reset and to help me feel cared for and replenished, so that I don't just like burn through, because I
Yeah.
have that tendency to
Yep.
push myself, and I also have a tendency to try to put off my self-care until after. And I'm
Yep.
using quote marks, because after what? After,
Right.
you know what I mean?
It's
It's
never
never
ending.
done. The work is
Yep.
never ending.
Yep.
And so, like, being able to build in these kind of incremental self-care habits has been huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the 20 minutes because
Mm-hmm.
I'm similar. I'm trying to stop saying, oh, when I do 1,000 things, then I've earned like sleep, or
Right.
I've earned the right to get up and go take a walk or something. 20
Right.
minutes is not gonna it's not a lot, but it
You got
is
that.
a lot for, exactly. You
You
have it
got
for
20 minutes.
yourself.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Like the task will not be done in 20 minutes. So why not
Right.
just pour into myself for a bit? That is
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what can the
Mhm.
people look forward
Mhm.
to with Oyin, and where can we find it as
Yeah.
well?
Okay. So we are on our own website, oyinhandmade.com, as
Mhm.
well as on Amazon.
Mhm.
We're in Whole Foods markets across the state of Maryland and in
Mhm.
DC. And we're also at independent retailers nationwide. So we actually just updated our website and have to rebuild our store builder. So if you are at your local independent natural hair boutique or retailer and don't see us, just ask them to call us and then we'll get there.
Oh, nice. Nice. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This was so good speaking to you. Of course, I'm going to have all of the links down below in the show notes. That way it's an easy way for you guys to click and go purchase. And if you want it in your local independent retailer, you can send your hair person to the website so that they can order it as well, or to request it. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This was such a good conversation. Your spirit is everything, just so infectious. And I'm genuinely inspired. Like, girl, you got to try things, because she building websites 20 years ago. Like, come on. I'm going to try some things now. I'm going to try some new things. But
you never know.
But you are incredible. Yes, yes. Okay. But thank you so much for your time, for all that you've done in the natural hair care space, and all that you're putting out into the world. We are so grateful and so appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. Thanks for making this space to speak about Black women and wellness. It's really important. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Be Well Sis. If you'd like to get in touch with us, there's a link in the show notes. Be Well Sis is hosted by me, Dr. Cassandra Dunbar, and produced by Edit Audio. Don't forget to hit follow so you never miss an episode. Until next time, be well, sis.